Yes, the Ferrari Amalfi. Now, this is a new model that replaces the Roma. And when I say replaces, I mean that in the gentlest of terms, because boy, does it look the same. And there aren't that many differences. So this car still uses V8 power, which is good, 631 horsepower, which is only 19 horsepower more than the Roma. They made a big deal out of, they lightened the camshafts by 2.9 pounds and things like that. But really, the only major talking point I think with this car is they listened to their customers who were complaining about the capacitive buttons that were in everything, and they brought back an actual physical button for the engine start thing, which Ferrari made a very big deal about. And talk about a niche thing to underline. But we're getting physical buttons back in Ferraris, which I'm a huge proponent of. And this car,
the other important thing about this car, I think, is the front end has now been restyled to mirror the front end of the Puro Sangwe. The Roma's front end was like a kind of a
meshy thing
situation, and this front end, I presume, is going to now be sort of the Ferrari corporate front end. Sort of looks like the 12 cylindry also.
Yeah, at least for maybe the front engine cars, maybe this is what they're going for, and it still looks very nice. I thought the Roma was a very pretty car too, and I think that this looks quite nice. But again, admittedly, it's not that big of a change over the Roma. I think a lot of people will probably confuse the two in showrooms, but. Yeah. Nonetheless, it still looks nice. I'm glad that they're continuing this V8 two-seater GT line of Ferraris. I think it's a good one for them to have. And allegedly, it's going to go on sale at the beginning of 2026, and U.S. deliveries will start sometime just after that. But
what do we think about the fact that Ferrari is just kind of seems to be naming all their cars after Italian places? We have the Portofino, then the Roma, now the Amalfi.
Yes, we had the 458. It started with the 458 Italia. I guess that's where it's for locations.
Cars like the Fiorano was their track.
Yeah, their track.
They've done that before, but now they've really just, they're digging deep, like Roma. They're just going for it. They're just going to name cars after Italian things. Now, in years past, this car would have been called the Roma M. Based on Ferrari's previous naming, but I suspect that in order to reach for more customers and get more sales, giving it a new name makes people think it's newer, and so that convention is probably being abandoned, and instead we have a completely new name.
I suppose, yeah, and I'm like you said, it's rare that cars are fully new these days. Like, if I view them as facelifts, but manufacturers view them as new, and so I guess that makes sense with the naming. At least it is something Italian, and it makes sense.
This is definitely
the deep face. Yeah, exactly.
The buttons thing is a big deal though, because I am not one to complain about a lack of buttons in cars. I think that too many buttons is an even bigger problem than not enough buttons. However, modern Ferrari models have been off the deep end with buttons, like with touch screen. They're not touch screens. It's like a capacitive touch pad, basically. And like even the engine starter was like a screen that you like tapped and held, and it had gotten a little bit difficult to use.
Right. Well, again, the Ferrari is a sports car. It's about the experience, and like just feeling like you're doing something to start it is part of it. Now, so like I'm glad that they actually did. It's rare also that they make their concessions and listen to their customers, I think, for stuff like this. I mean, it's a small detail, but like nonetheless, I think it does make a difference of how you interact with the car. Use it every single time.
Is there going to be a decline in values in the screen era Ferrari? You have to assume that if they're doing this for this car, they will then do this for other ones. Yes. In 20 years, are we going to look at the screen era cars, which will only be a few cars, right? It'll be the Roma, the 12 cylindry, the early Puro Sangways. Presumably they'll facelift that and give it buttons again. And are those going to be kind of like the lesser desired cars, especially if those screens start to break, which one has to assume they might?
Yeah, I think that's if I were going to put money on it, I would say they're going to break. But I do think that there will be a definition of the screen era cars.
I wonder if there'll be like a Porsche design equivalent of like a retrofit to put buttons back on the cars in 20 years.
I bet it would be cool if you could, but I bet it would be too involved. But
the steering wheel's easy. A couple cold ones, also, couple Torx bolts.
Can you imagine the amount of R&D they did to add those like capacitive screens, and now they're just like, no, give us the button we've used since 2005.
But based on what we hear about Ferrari's profit margins, they can do stuff like this, and they just at some point, the screens are cheaper to make, and they seem more futuristic, but at some point, if the customers are all saying one thing, you got to listen to your customers.
Yep. Even Ferrari.
I was going to say, this is exciting news for old people who have golf memberships and are buying cars out of obligation to buy something more special instead. But not an exciting car.
It is. I don't know. I think it's a lot of fun.
How excited are you when you see a Roma? Because this is the same car.
It's so funny. Everybody thinks the base model version of whatever is not exciting, and I find it to be so funny because like it's still a Ferrari. Like this car is 630 horsepower out of a twin turbo V8. Like what are you driving over there? Huh? It's got more power than your
a V12, Doug. That's what I'm driving.
I mean, like, but everybody says this. Like, you get kids on the internet being like, "It's just a Boxster," and it's like, "All right, what do you got?" "Oh, I'm driving my dad's Acura." "Oh, well, okay, it's just a Boxster then, huh?"
There are only a few objects in your life that are absolutely essential to your well-being just because of how much time you spend with them. For me, it really comes down to two: my beloved E39 M5 and my mattress. Believe it or not, I'm equally in love with both. That's why I'm genuinely thrilled to have Brooklyn Bedding as a sponsor. They let me pick one of their mattresses to take out on a test drive, and I went with the Aurora Lux cooling mattress with the cloud pillow top. I'm genuinely astonished. It's a total game changer. Before this, I was tossing and turning, waking up hot, sore, and honestly still tired. Now I wake up refreshed after a night of cool, tranquil sleep. It's wild, and I am definitely not turning back. Now, I'm a side sleeper, so I need something soft enough for my shoulder, but still firm enough to keep my back happy. This thing nailed it. No more lower back pain, no overheating. Emily's sleeping better too, dreaming of track days in her E90 M3 CRT, which is really saying something. Brooklyn Bedding has been doing this for over 25 years. Top tier comfort and quality without the ridiculous luxury price tag. Every mattress is custom made by master craftsmen at their facility in Arizona, and they ship for free anywhere in the US. Plus, you've got up to 120 nights to sleep on it, and if it's not for you, they will help you return it and swap it for something better. So if you don't hug your mattress every night like I do, it's time to upgrade. Go to brooklynbedding.com and use our promo code CARS at checkout to get 30% off site-wide. This offer is not available anywhere else. You have to use our promo code on the very last page of checkout to get this discount. That's brooklynbedding.com and use our promo code CARS for 30% off site-wide. brooklynbedding.com with the promo code CARS.